So my topic, what I have been assigned major and minor components of powerhouses. So first I'll go through some layouts. Then exactly there are majorly turbine and generator. I will discuss what are the major components of turbines. Then in generator lecture, I will discuss the components of generators, and little bit I will go through the operation of the hydropower plants. So three topics I want to cover in 2 sessions. So be patient, and I hope very patient listening from the participants. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, loud and clear.
So this is one of the layout of Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam Limited Naphtha Jakri power plant. What you find on the screen, this is the simulator we have at NPTI Nangal. This is the replica of Naphtha Jakri Unit 1 of Satluj Jal Vidyut Nigam Limited. From the screen itself, you can see the arrow marks and the blue patches that shows the reservoir. And can you follow my cursor? You can see ki there are 5 radial gates are there, then spillways are there. The gates, it is meant for I can say flood control, or the whenever you have the level of the water above the certain FRL level, poor reservoir level, that can be released to the radial gates. Even if we have spillway gates also, spillway, the elevation of spillway is little bit lower than the radial gates elevations. If you need any water in the downstream of the river, so that the water in the reservoir that can be utilized through the spillways or the downstream side. Then we have 4 intake gates from where we are getting the water from the reservoir, and we are making the water down to the turbine, where you are using the energy of the water to produce the electricity. Then meantime, while traveling, the water is traveling from the intake to the turbine. You know, in Himalaya region, there are silts available in the water. So there, you see Satluj and our Naphtha Jakri power plant, the reservoir, it is the upper end of the Satluj river. Most probably, you have muddy waters there. So they have their desilting chambers are there. The desilting, we have to arrange the silt whatever they available during the travel of water from the intake towards the turbine. The main reason is very simple. We just widen the area of the flow. That means initially what the cross-sectional area where the water is flowing from the intake, in a certain patches we just increase the cross-sectional area or the volume, so that the velocity of the water while traveling from the intake to the turbine, it will be a bit slow, or we need the water very calm in that particular patches where we are going to build the desilting chambers. So when the water will be calm, the silt will be rested in the bottom layer. Then we have some flushing gates in the desilting chambers to flush the silts in the downstream of the water. Then we have a common HRT. HRT means headrest tunnel. It is 27.3 kilometers HRT. That means headrest tunnel. The name itself, it tells the tunnel who raises the head from the reservoir to the turbine. That is called headrest tunnel. You find it is quite parallel, or a minimum slant is provided there. Then we have surge shaft. Surge shaft is the junction point of HRT and your pressure shaft. That means above the upstream of the surge shaft, it is known as HRT, and the downstream of the surge shaft, it is called your pressure shaft. So their design is like this. They have 6 units there. 2 units it is controlled by one butterfly valve. Then each and every unit they're having their own MIV, that is main inlet valves. Like this, their layout is going on. So having switching in turbine, or you on the unit, you off the unit, there are some surges. That surges will be handled by the surge shaft. It is a open system, open well system. That means when you are making the unit unconditioned, or you want to run the unit, what happens? The first water, it comes from the source shaft itself. The location of the source shaft, it should be very near to the powerhouse, so that any surges that can be died out very easily and efficiently and in the minimum time. We engineers, we want the surges should not rest in the water conductor system for a long time. So as close to the powerhouse your source shaft should be constructed, it is like this. That means your surges should not be rested in the water conductor system or the pressure shaft for a long time. So when you stop the unit, again the back pressure will be there. So that back pressure, it will be follow the path, pressure shaft path, and it will be released in the source shaft. So when you are operating the power plant and stopping the power plant, the surges will be handled by the source shaft. That's why fast water is coming to the source shaft. When you stop it, the water going to the source shaft. The meantime, when you start the machine, source shaft level going down. Then when water will be reaching in the source shaft from the reservoir, again the reservoir level and source shaft level, they will be in equal states. And similarly, when you stop the unit, at the first instant, you will notice the level of the source shaft, it will be going higher, then it will be stable after some time when the water will be again released to the reservoir only. So this is all about they are having 6 units. Then you have they are using the Francis turbines there. Then they are having draft tubes. Then common TRT tailless tunnel is there. 6 are connected to a particular tunnel. That tunnel is called TLT, and water is released in the downstream of the river. This is the typical layout of Satluj. This is the model we have in our simulator. See. The whole plant, we have 6 to 7 models are there. This is one model we are having. Whatever you have seen in the previous slide, the layout, exactly the model has been formulated there. There is a lake and there is a valve, then your desilting chamber, then your HRT is there, Edis tunnel is there, then you have the source shaft, then you are having the turbines are there, then MIV is there, then MIV across your bypass system is there. Then you have downstream is there, then flushing gates are there. Even there are some cooling systems from where you are getting the water from the downstream and cool heating components. This is the SCADA what you are using in the operation also. You see 2 bus bar system is there, 1 unit you are simulating there. Then you see the power plant, they can be operated in 3 modes: CCR mode, USB auto, and UCB manual. CCR means centralized control, then UCB unit controllable auto and unit controllable manual. Even if it can be operated in the joint control mode, we will be discussed when we are going through the operation point of view. Then you the sequence of control and it's sitting, then sequence when you are running, the sequences will be operating, and in each sequence there are some steps also. You can see each and every steps we are getting the plant. This is the condition your machine ready to start. One button is glowing, it will be a green. That will be green when the starting conditions or pre-check conditions of the turbine or the turbine generator set will be fulfilled. It will be green. If it is you are not noticed the green button is of ready to start, your machine will not take any commands. Then you see start, stop, step by step method, next step method. Then there are some set points and your measured values are there. Left hand side your excitation is there, reactive or values are there. Then their set point is there, and the excitation block dialog box is there. The excitation current is there. Right hand side your active is there. You can see the having frequency also. You can opening limiters in any cases. If the malfunction opens, your governor will not allow the guide vanes to open beyond the 10%. That means beyond 10%, if in spinning condition, it may damage the foundation of the unit. Then you have a reservoir level, tailless level, and gross head and total flow. It will be noticed by the operator sitting in the operator's session. Then the components of the power process. We start from the penstock where you are getting the water. That means water energy for the turbines. So the penstock is connected to the spiral casing or wicket gates. Spiral casing, it is a casing having decreasing cross-sectional area. The objective of the spiral casing to maintain equal velocity at each and every blade of the turbine. Then wicket gates, it is the vane or guide vane or wicket gates, both are same. This is the main objective of the wicket gate. It controls the flow of water according to the generation. Then that is connected to the turbine. Then turbine, it's connected to the generators. When your machine is turbine is running, that means mechanical, it converts the water energy into mechanical energy. Then it is connected to the generator. Then generator converts the mechanical to electrical energy. Then back in between your turbine, you see turbine, generator, governor, and spiral casing wicket gates. They are in a closed loop. That means governor is the man responsible to have a close monitoring on the operation of the generator, turbine generator set. According to the load conditions, your governor adjusts the flow of the water through the wicket gates. More opening of the wicket gates, more water inside the turbine, then more power generation in the generators, and through generator it is fed to the bus. Then your unit is there, Chesson unit is there, then it is feeding to the switcher. Then the water coming out from the turbine going to the draft tube, then again it goes to a TRT or tail race, and the same water can be released in the downstream of the river. This is a cross section of your hydropower plant. If you notice, this is a Francis turbine, and then initial part you can see from the reservoir also, and the black patch, but you're seeing this is your intake gates. In the front of the intake gates, you have some screen. They are writing the screen. These are the thrash racks. The thrash racks, they are actually used to block the floating materials. There are some. This is just like a filter of a big size walls. That means the any debris is coming into the coming in the river or any floating materials, wooden blocks, they should not enter into the HRT or headrest tunnel or in the water conductor system, so that if he enters, it damages the blade of the runner. So for that, we are putting some cross rack. It is simple filters, so it will block the flow. Again, I can say there is a location site selection of the intake, that is also plays a big role. So where you want to choose a location of your intake, the intake location is in such a place where you need the flow of the water is very calm. We need flow of the water should very calm. There should not be a wind direction towards the intake area, and intake should be as low as possible, as the level of the intake should be as low as possible, so that your dead water level will be very less. We can utilize maximum water available in the reservoirs. Then, and the geology, you should have a good geology where you want to construct, you choose the place of the intake gates. So calm water means, or direction of the wind means, any floating material that won't come to the front of the intakes. If the water is calm there, and that's not with the flow of wind in that particular direction, there is hydrological studies are there. People are studying before 3 to 4 years before the constructions. They know in that direction wind flow is very minimum. So in that direction, in that particular place, they can choose the location of the intakes. Then you see after intake, you have the turbine. Then you can see the draft tube. This is called a penstock, what is studied in our postgraduate or graduate level. This is penstock, but we people are telling this is my pressure shaft, because as I discussed, the HRT part, it is slightly slanting, but pressure shaft, it is heavily slanted. That means the pressure involved in that particular patch of the water conductor system is enough. So you have to concentrate the material as well as thickness of the pressure shaft rather than the HRT. Then the water coming out of the turbine, it will be going to the adaptive and released at the tail race. Then this portion, this is your generator part, then your bus bar, then inside this is my machine hall. In machine hall, you are having a traveling crane is there. It is written is in machine hall. Then it is a access to the gallery also. You can have some path to access the gallery. Then again, the power generated by the generator, it is fed to the transformer. You can see the transformers here, circuit breakers here. Then again, the entry can for the of the and switch thing. We all know what is the objective of the turbine. It converts your water energy or hydraulic energy into the mechanical energy. Then these are the types of the hydro turbines: reaction, impulse. Reaction, we have Francis, Kaplan, and Propeller. Kaplan, Propeller. In Kaplan, you can change the blade angle. Propeller, you cannot change the blade angle. So when you are entering any powerhouses, if you see on the top of the unit, there are some oil pipes coming down. You can point out this is my Kaplan unit. At Propeller, you won't find that. Okay, the Kaplan, you have two options to control the flow of the water, or to control the megawatt also through changing the blade angle and the guide vanes also, Francis. Then impulse, we have Pelton only. Then there are some criteria for selection of hydraulic turbines: Pelton, Francis, Kaplan, Propeller, Ball. See, basically, we are considering head and specific speed. Mostly, apart from that, there are some head variations and load variations in that particular area, and the project also. If we are going to have a project at a particular location, when you have some head variations or you have some load variations there. So even if you are, suppose I am mostly you are prepared, if it is not a high head power plant, so you can go through Francis and Kaplan also. But when you are in overlapping zones, that means when Francis and Kaplan both are suitable for a particular site, you go through key. What is the variation of the load there? If variation is more, you can go through Kaplan. It is 25 to 100% load variation is there. So better you choose Kaplan. Even if there are some maintenance aspects also. In maintenance Francis turbine, the Francis turbine can be dismantled from the bottom. There are some provisions on the after the draft tube. Draft tube, there is a draft tube cone is there. You can dismantle the draft tube cone, and in that cone area you can dismantle the Francis turbine from the bottom. But in case of Kaplan, the whole unit will be dismantled. That means your generator rotor from the top it will be dismantled. Generator and your turbine all will be have to be dismantled. So the gestation time of maintenance will be more, and money will be involved more, time also more. So it is better if you have any confusion in between Francis and Kaplan, or for a particular location you are in dilemma whether I should go for Francis or Kaplan. You go, what is the load variation there? Even if load variation you are getting Kaplan is better, you go what is the maintenances. So for maintenance point of view, you can choose the Francis also. These are the things it should be taken care when you are selecting the hydraulic turbines. I see the overlapping zones, as I told earlier. If you are in the overlapping zone, means 2 or 3 turbines may be selected, may be chosen for a particular site. So you consider the part load operation. As I told, 50 to 100% Francis and 25 to 100 Kaplan. Even if hydraulic conditions head variation is there or not, both are 65 to 125. Then efficiency, as I know, Francis is something more than Kaplan. Then maintenance also, I told it is very easy for Francis turbine. You have to consider the maintenance also. One more thing is there, your excavation turbine setting is there. In Kaplan, you have to go for more excavation level. In Francis, it is a bit lower. In that angle, you can save money also. So whenever there are some overlap zones, considering your head and specific speed, so you consider these four options, whichever you find suitable, and you can select that only. Up to that, any questions from your side? Am I audible?
Yes, sir,
Participant,
you're audible, sir.
any questions up to this slide? This is basic layouts and no. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, okay. Then major components of the turbine. Major components: turbine, spiral casing, distributor in case of your Pelton. So we are basically discussing the Francis only. I will be discussing the Francis only. And stray vanes, guide vanes, what we are telling, wicket gate also people are telling in guide vanes. Nozzles and deflectors, they are in case of your Pelton. Then runner, then draft tube. These are the major components of turbine. Generator, I will discuss when I have a lecture on generator. That will be better. You can see this is my Francis turbine. This is the spiral casing, what you are getting. This is the spiral casing. Then one stray ring is there. I'll show you what is the stray ring. The stray ring itself, your guide vanes and your stray vanes, they rested on the stray rings. Then you can see stray vanes, these are the fixed vanes, and guide vanes, the mover. The control of water according to the power generation, it is to the guide vanes. The guide vanes are connected to the crank lever mechanism. Then the lever is connected to the operating ring. Then the operating ring is connected to the servo motor. The servo motor is connected to the governor. Then you have a open system, pressure unit system, where you have 1/3 oil and 2/3 air there. There are compressed going and the it operating is connected to the guide lever. It is there only. Then this is a Francis turbine. Then this is my turbine shaft. Then upper cover, it will be sealed by some iron arrangements. That is called my upper cover. Then you can see some labyrinth sealing is there. You can see from here some zigzag upper and lower. You can see from here. If you can follow my cursor, these are the labyrinth sealing. I will discuss when you are going to labyrinth. Then here you will see these are called your turbine guide bearings are also there here. Then lower cover, the bottom also there is a cover is there. You can see the same upper cover and lower cover. And it is a water summer turbine. And the material used for the spiral casing, stray ring and stray vanes. These are carbon steel or high strength microalloy or heat treatment steels also. Okay, these are the structural steels are used for spiral casing, stray ring and stray vanes. Stray vanes are the fixed vanes. This is the sub assembly of spiral casing and stray rings. You can see from the figure. This is my spiral casing, and the fixed vanes you are seeing. These are the stray vanes. This gives the direction to the water for the turbines. That means whatever the water is coming through the spiral casing, they should intend to flow towards the turbines. This is the intention of the design engineer. and it gives the direction. Otherwise, the movement while the water is traveling through the spiral casing, it may touch the internal surface of the spiral casing, and there may be some frictions. Even if you will have some noises also. See, whatever the intention, except that if you see or you feel any excursions of energy, that is the complete losses. What the design engineer mean for that. So I want the whatever water is traveling to the spiral casing, they should have a direction towards the turbine blades rather than the outer periphery of inner periphery of your spiral casing. So that intention is to provide, that means you make the flow of water directional. That means you are provided direction, you make it is a vector towards the blades of the turbines. That's all. That's why we are putting the stray vanes. These vanes, it, it guides the water to flow towards the turbine runner. The main purpose of the guide. These are the fixed vanes. Some angle of direction has been given so that water should easily, without any, I can say, losses, frictional losses, it should be directed to the turbine drainer. Then this shows valve positions. You can see from here there are two penstocks. You can see from here, and the joint, it is open now. Spiral casing and your penstock or pressure shaft, it will be connected through the main inlet valve. That means opening, closing of this valve. The water will be entered to the spiral casing when you open this valve, and it is supported by some bypass valve also, because when you start the machine, this side, the upstream of the MIV or mill inlet valve will be more, and downstream you have 2 kg pressure, so there is a differential pressure. So heavy forces is needed to operate the valve. So initially there is a bypass valve will be there. Initially that bypass valve will be opened and it will pressurize the spiral casing. Then when the differential pressure will be nearly negligible, then you can open the main inlet valve. So this shows the valve position. Valve means your main inlet valve where water enters to the spiral casing. This is also one of the picture of the spiral casing. It is just like reduced cross-sectional area. It surrounds the turbine runner. It surrounds the turbine runner. That means when water enters, some amount of water going down to the turbine. So at the end of the spiral casing, the volume of water goes at decreasing. So maintain a constant velocity at each and every blade of the turbine. You have to reduce the cross-sectional area because the volume of water is reducing while traveling in the spiral casing. So you have to reduce the cross-sectional area so that velocity will be constant at each and every blade of the turbine. This is the concept. This is the spiral casing elevation and plan view also. You can see from here. This is also same guide vanes and stray vanes. You can see from here. Stray vanes are fixed. The guide vanes, these are rotating vanes. Spiral casing fluid enters from the penstock to the spiral casing, which completely surrounds the runner. This casing is known as scroll case or bloat. The cross-sectional area of the casing decreases uniformly along the circumference to make the fluid velocity constant in magnitude in each and every blade. Okay, this is the material, stainless steel. They are using guide vanes or stainless steels, chromium and nickel. Here you can see the red blades. They are at the guide vanes. Guide vanes are in front of the runner. You will see the runner is faced by the guide vanes only. The gap in between the blades of the runner, that will be closed are opened. Otherwise, the gap in between the runner blades of the runner, it gates the passage of water through the permission of your guide vanes. That means if guide vane permits, then only water will enter in the gap in between the runner blades. And the outer blades, these are the fixed blades in green color. These are called the guide vanes. More and less, the number of guide vanes, the number of stray vanes are 50% of the guide vanes. It is a thumb rule only. That means one in between two. That means the gap in between the two stray vanes, it is covered. It is comprised by two guide vanes. Four, I can say that. The gap will be covered by, or gap will be maintained by two guide vanes. It is mostly half. That means the section will be closed when both the guide vanes will be close to each other. This is the Francis turbine runner. Again, I told the gap what you see from here, Francis turbine blades, exactly in front of the gap in between the two blades, your guide vanes will be there. And the material, again stainless steel. This one also stainless steel, and your guide vane also stainless steel they are using. This is also Francis. I don't need a, this is theory. Your Francis was there. And why it is called your reaction turbine? Because pressure and velocity both are expensive for the generation of the electricity. So that's why it is called, one is created to the reaction of the other. That's why it is called the reaction turbine. And they're using from 45 to 400. Now 600 meters also we are using Francis turbine also. And see how this is the close position of the guide vanes. You can see from here. That is a runner inlet, and then you can see and how the guide vanes are closed. This is in closed position, and you see this is my open position. Get clear? This is closed, and they are operating. The base tail of guide vanes will be close together, and the guide vane outlet. You can see from here what the guide vane positions. This is 12.21 degree. Then this is my close positions. This is the maximum opening alpha is equal to 18 degree. Okay. Maximum guide vane is degree. Then in load condition it is 1 degree, and the guide vane position in the close positions. Again, you can see from here also how your water is traveling, like this. How is like this. This part you can see the double line part. Outer part, this is your stray vane. Then this is my guide vane, and this is my runner. So how the water from the spiral casing they are traveling with the assistance or support of the guide vanes. That means we always require whatever the water traveling in the spiral casing, they should have some intention to go inside the turbine only. Is somewhat different from this direction. These things create losses, and this gives you noises. If you are getting noises in a spiral casing, that means turbulence is there. You need the whatever energy you are getting, it is not utilized efficiently. So for that, your guide vanes, stray vanes, they should have a particular direction, and the design also depends how safely, how supportedly the water available in the spiral casing, they are guided to the turbine runner. This is like this. Then draft tube. Draft tube cone, I told you the draft tube and the bottom of the turbine, a turbine end and the starting point of the draft tube, they are connected by some patches of the steel. carbon steel. This is called my draft tube cone. That can be dismantled. This point to this point, this point to this point, it can be dismantled. Then your machine can be held by jacking system of the unit. You jack the whole system, then you can dismantle, or you can dismantle the Francis turbine from this gap, and any maintenance is required in the turbine runner, you do it. Then you can repeat it through this draft tube cone area. Once it's fitted, again your draft tube cone will be fitted, and you can start the machine. It needs hardly 3 to 5 days. But in case of Kaplan, whole system can be dismantled from the top through the gantry. That is one of the advantages of the Francis for maintenance. So always I'm telling for Francis turbines, if your load variation is less in a particular area, so better if you are finding Francis and Kaplan, both are suitable for a particular project, you choose Francis. It is better for maintenance aspects, even if vibrations are very less in Francis rather than your Kaplan and Proplan. This is my draft tube. You can see again carbon seals that are used for draft tube. You all know what is the purpose of draft tube. It is the water coming out from the Francis turbine or any reaction turbine. The pressure is below atmospheric. In case of Pelton, there is no draft tube. Water coming out from Pelton wheel is atmospheric pressure. But here, the water coming out, it is a below atmospheric pressure. In this regard also, differential or virtual pressure across the turbine goes on increasing. So even if you have better efficiency also, but the draft tube, by using draft tube, what happens? The water coming out from the turbine at a below atmospheric pressure cannot be released till rest at atmospheric pressure. So what we are doing, where we are widening the end of the draft tube, so that what will happen? Your velocity will be goes down, the pressure will be goes up, so that water will be easily released to the downstream. The water coming out of the turbine will not be released very easily. Again, it will create vibrations. It will create, okay? Because you need the water coming to the turbine, it should be smooth. Coming out from the turbine, it is smooth. While traveling from main inlet valve to the TRT, the smoothness should be assured. If you will not assure the smoothness, you have some vibrations. You have vibration means you are losing energy, because whatever excursions of energy you are getting in terms of, you may see that, you may feel that, these are the losses. If I'm getting any noise, that is losses. If I'm getting any vibrations, losses. You are getting any heat, these are the losses. So I don't need what my intention is. So main purpose of the draft tube, where widening the, or opening will be widened, so that velocity will be goes down, or pressure will be goes off. So the pressure available at the starting point of the draft tube below atmospheric, it will be atmospheric when coming out. Then bearing arrangements of hydro units. See, hydro, we are telling three types of units are there. One is umbrella type, one is suspended type, another is semi-umbrella type. It is the umbrella, semi-umbrella, and suspended type machines. They are defined based on the bearing arrangements. So in suspended type, the whole generator and turbine is hanged from the top itself. That means your thrust bearing, where the total weight of the turbine and your generator is holded at the top. That is called your suspended type machine. So in suspended type machine, your thrust bearing, here you can see thrust bearing is in the middle. That means below the generator. Above the generator, thrust bearing is there. This is called suspended time machine. That means you hold the whole unit from the top. Okay, and there are two bearings: upper generator guide bearing and lower generator guide bearing. Then for turbine guide bearing. That means the three guide bearings are there: two for generator, one for turbine guide bearing, and one is a thrust bearing. That thrust bearing means all the thrust or weight of the machine is welded there. Okay, that is called suspended time machine. Umbrella, you see umbrella, when you are opening the umbrella, the whole forces are on the top now only. So it is, if the thrust bearing is below the generator rotor, that is called your umbrella time machine. That means the weight of the whole machine, it will be holded in between the generator and turbine. That is called your umbrella time machine. Again, there is a upper guide bearing generator, lower guide bearing generator, and in turbine guide bearing also. But semi umbrella type, lower guide bearing is not there in generator. Only one guide bearing for generator, one guide bearing for turbine, and thrust bearing will be in the mid shaft arrangement of generator and your turbine. These are the three types: suspended type, umbrella type, semi-umbrella type, semi-umbrella and umbrella. Semi-umbrella, one guide bearing is missing, generator, others are there. So depending upon the positioning of the thrust bearing, you can say if it is a suspended type or umbrella type or semi-umbrella type. Okay. Just see from here. This is umbrella type machine. You have a guide bearing. Guide bearing, it ensures the intactness of the shafts. That means there will not be any deviations. Even if they are this guide bearing, they are in segmented. Earlier it is in two parts. Nowadays it is segmented type. That means 8 to 10 guide pads we are using. Where you are using the guide pads, there you want some virtual, you can see diameter should be there. The virtual diameter means we have to increase the diameter there only, so that number of pads can be increased. So in the suspended time machine, so it is suspended from the top. So how it will be suspended? We are putting a thrust cooler or runner dish. This is called runner dish. A big heavy dish is connected or attached to the on the top of the shaft, top of the generator shaft, and that's dish will be rested on the thrust bearing, and on the periphery of the dish we are using the upper guide bearings. Lower guide bearing, again we have to have some journals. On the journals itself we are putting the guide bearings. Similarly, the same in the turbine also, we are near to the turbine runner. On the top of the runner there is a journal. That means, and on the journal itself we are putting the turbine guide bearing pads, and these pads are you can say adjustable pads. Suppose there is a certain limits are there. If there is a bending is alignment something sharp, I mean some guide pad. So there are some sensors you are always getting the pads. Guide pad is going on. So that guide, so you have to close the screw, and you have to that of the limit again measurements you have to have these things. These are the very told you the one actually. This is called, this is the thrust bearing on the top of the generator. So this is called suspended. Here slide bearing is generator. It was this one suspended type, and you see on my runner on the periphery bearings generating pads on the starter the neck in generate. I'll show you on the upper bracket, but it is connected foundation heads. Bracket is okay. Shaft is connected and ideal to the Ds are on the periphery of the Ds. We are putting the pads, the number of pads. These are the adjustable pads. I can say like this. Then generator comes. Then below the generator, you see the diameter also. They are having some increased diameter. The purpose is number of pads will be more, and it is very easy very easy to adjust as well as if number of bearings thrust guide pads will be more. So if one of will be robbed, it can be changed, it can be adjusted for that purpose. Then your turbine guide bearing is there. Again, same type. There are also some zonals are there. You are using guide bearings. That it guides the rotation of the shaft only. Then minor components of the turbines. Up to this slide, any questions you have? Anybody? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Sir.
You people getting me or not? Whether I am only समझ में आ रहा नहीं आ रहा? I did fast. I should go a little slower. I need your feedback. Then turbine shaft. What is the purpose, objective of the shaft? It transmits the power from the turbine. There is a coupling. Turbine shaft, then generator shaft is there. They are coupled. Rigid coupling is there. So the shaft is a carrier for the flow of the power or from your turbine through the generator through the couplings. So again, the material what we are using high strength microalloy or heat steels are used. The objective, this is turbine shaft. Objective, it transmits the power from turbine to the generator through the couplings. This is your labyrinth, as I told. What is labyrinth? Labyrinth ceiling bolte hain usko. See, the turbine is a rotating part and turbine pit or liner bolte hain usko. The housing where your turbine is rotating. You have some civil structure and inner periphery, you have some steel liners up there. Inside that, your turbine is rotating. That means one fixed structure is there. Inside the fixed structure, your turbine is rotating. That means there should be some gap in between your turbine and the fixed structure, civil structure. Clear? So when water is traveling from the spiral case to the runner, there may be some possibilities through the gap in between the runner and the fixed structure. Some water may be traveling through the gaps, and though the gap is very less, they can travel at a huge speed. So to arrest that energy, leakage water energy, at what energy that water is moving or traveling in the gap that is arise due to rotating runner and your fixed structure, that energy should be arrested. If we can arrest that energy, or you can break that energy. If it is not possible to arrest the energy, you can break the energy. If I can break the energy, so ultimately I can contribute to the efficiency of the turbines. So that is done by the Lamb-Ring. What we are doing, and that the path provided in between the runner and the fixed structure, it is a continuous path. That means 1 cm or 0.9 mm, 0.9 cm if gap is there, it is throughout continuous. So instead of a continuous path, if we are providing a path having several steps, so the energy of the water passing through that gap, it can break. So this is called my labyrinth sealing. It is not sealed. The labyrinth, it provides a stepped path in between the runner and the fixed civil structure. We can say the liner, the housing for the turbine. So you can see from here in the bottom of the turbine, you can see there are some steps here. Two labyrinth, two parts. One is fixed labyrinth, another is called your rotating labyrinth. This labyrinth or this zigzag path or stepped path is cut on the body of the runner, and the same way one labyrinth will be fixed on the inner periphery of the housing of the turbine, so that they will be rotating like this. There will be a gap, but that gap will be a stepped gap. So water cannot be traveling through that gap with a high speed. In this particular way, we broke the energy of that leakage water in the gap in between the rotating part and the fixed civil structure, and thereby we can increase, we can contribute little bit more in the field of efficiency of the turbine. This is called the labyrinth. Labyrinth seal, again stainless steel nickel chromium on the rotating seal, and stationary seal is nickel aluminum bronze on the stationary. I told the labyrinth, one is fixed labyrinth, one is rotating because it is on the surface of the turbine. This is stainless. Then which one is fixed in the fixed civil structure? This is your nickel aluminum bronze. I can see from bottom of the turbine. I took a picture. You can see from the bottom, these are the rails. You can see the rails. One is female, the fixed labyrinth and bottom labyrinth. I can tell is male and female. You can tell is so. Fixed labyrinth tooth may be rotating in the slot of the male. It is rotating like this. Then covers lower and bottom covers for using, it is a water thermal turbine. Then you can see this is my guide vane. This is the top side, this is the bottom side. Stainless steel you are using. How guide vanes are arranged, you can see from here also. These are arranging like this only, and the upper lever will be connected to the operating ring. Lower lever will be on the steering, I told earlier. The upper, it is connected to the lever mechanism. That lever is connected to the operating ring. You can see the operating ring here. This is my operating ring. This is my shaft. This is my operating ring. You can see the plungers also. This is connected to the servo motors. This whole thing is your operating ring whole. Then you can see the side, there are some levers. These levers are connected to the guide vanes. You can see this is your servo motor. Guide bearing, it is in parts. I told you it is in segment. Earlier it is there 2 parts. Now guide pads were using. And they are guiding the rotation of the your shaft. And this is the exact picture I took from Parvati 2 NHPC. Sorry, Parvati 3 NHPC. From here you can see this is my guide pads. This is a suspended type machine. These are the guide pads, and you can see from here side these are the thrust bearing thrust pads, and these are the guide pads. You can see there are some holes in the thrust pads. This hole is while we are rotating the machine. Initially, we have to jack the machine. There are some braking and jacking system. The whole machine will be jacked a little bit. Then we have to run a HP oil pump, high pressure oil pump. That oil pump is connected to these holes. So the intention is to make a film of oil on the surface of the guide pads. Then we give the command for spinning of the turbines. For that, this is called here. The holes are provided. These are the babbitt materials on the surface of the guide pads. Nowadays, Teflon coating is there. Where Teflon coating guide pads are used, there you don't need any holes or any high pressure oil system, because Teflon self lubricating it. So we don't need any lubrication on the surface of the guide pads. But old machines where you don't find the Teflon, or if you are entering a powerhouse, you don't find any HP oil pump. So blindly you can tell the guide pads, whatever they are using, their Teflon coatings are there. Similarly, also here also guide pads also you have Teflon, and the thrust pads also you have Teflon. They are supported by the spring arrangements also. You'll see how guide pads are. And these are the guide pads you see from here also. Okay, and you can see, notice the holes on the outer side. There are holes. Through that holes, your HV oil pump is connected. And while you want to start the machine, first you have to jack the machine a little bit. Then you run the HV oil pump. It will make a film on the pad. Then you can command may be giving for the spinning of the turbine. Again, this is a Bharat Siemens. These are the pads, and below you see the mattress of rubber springs are there. Again, the guide pads also interconnected. The reason is, I think it is there or not. And pipes with jets for the cold oil injections. You can see from here, these are the pipes with jets. They are connected to the guide pads. And this guide pads also interconnected, because if there is a misalignment, if they are not interconnected through a plate, one plate is there, they will be pushing in between the two. If it is not there, at the time of misalignment, always it will rob one of the guide pad very severely, and within a sort of time, your machine going for maintenances. But if these guide pads will be interconnected, what will happen when at some portion, if there is a rob at some portion or some number of guide pads, another guide pads, it will be going off. That means most of the guide pads will be robbed, and it will continue. That means their cases maintenance comes very nearer. You need the yearly maintenances, but here there are some tolerances. You can go on that. Instead, heavy temperature is on a particular guide pad you are finding. Then these are some high speed, low speed runners. As I told, the low speed runner, it is very bulky. Low speed runner, the diameter is more and their height is less. But high speed runner, diameter is less and your height is more. The high speed runner, It looks like cylinder, but low speed runner, it looks like an umbrella. So that's why if somebody is getting any figure, he can just characterize whether which one is a high speed. If it is not written NS60 or NS2265, so you can easily identify which one is high speed runner and which one is your low speed runner. Generally, those having less diameter and big, more height, are these are called high speed. More diameter means low speed runners seems to be very bulky. Again, another is low speed means you have to accommodate the number of poles also more. Speed low means in generator side you go through, you need more number of poles. There also you have a very bulky rotor also. Then governor. Governing system used for regulating frequency and the power output. The quality of power depends on frequency and voltage. This needs regulated properly for the stable and accurate output for good performances. This is the human governor operator. That is a system. System means you can take it is my grid. Then your generator is there, your turbine is there, then governor is there. If we are getting feedback from the system, what frequency, what voltage we have. Governor is controlling the frequency and megawatt as per the frequency or megawatt generations. Suppose frequency and megawatt is, you will go entering the powerhouse. If its frequency goes down, you have to increase the megawatt. Your voltage goes down, you have to increase the reactive power or the excitations up to your limit. What limit you have to increase. ऐसा नहीं है कि if your limit is defined to a generator, up to that megawatt, up to that MVR you have to increase. So up to that you can increase to maintain the grid discipline. So we are taking because whatever generation it is fed to the grid, we are taking the reference from the grid. Okay, and we are taking the corrective action. That corrective action is done by the governments. Then is simple what governor does. It measures the speed. There are some different methods for measurement of the speeds. Then we are using tooth wheel. People are using inductive method also, capacitive method also, stroboscopy method also. People are using different methods. PMG also used for measurement of the speeds. Somewhere you have to measure the speed. Then that speed, what is the reference speed will be there. That will be the difference will be sensed by your governor. Whether you have to increase the speed or decrease the speed. For increase and decrease, increasing speed means you need more water. More water means your opening of the guide band should be more. That means your guide band will be open more. Closing means you need there is a negative speed means you have to close the guide bands because it will not allow more water. According to the requirement, your movement of the guide band should be controlled by the governors. Then as a dead band means governing system, the amount of change in the steady state speed within which there is no action by the governor. That means what little changes should not be responded by the governor, that is called my dead band. कितने speed change होने से my governor should not respond. ठीक है? This is called my dead band. Up to that changes, I should that is the tolerances. Up to that your governor should tolerate and it should not change. 0.5 megawatt, less than 5 megawatt, the dead band percentage is 0.15. Then in case of hours 0.75. Then 5 to 30 megawatt 10%. Then above 30 megawatt जो बोलते हैं large nowadays 0.06. And this is called a dead band of the generator. It is terminology of the governors. So up to what minimum changes your governor should not act. That is called your dead band. So big machines, a dead band goes on decreasing. This is frequency generator curve. It is always opposite to each other. If frequency goes more, generation is lower, and frequency lower, generation should be more. Then droop. The amount, it is also one of the characteristics of the governor. This is the necessary. What change of speed is necessary for the control mechanism to move from full close to full open. That means if your guide vane is full closed, कितने चेंजेस स्पीड होने से आपकी गाइड वेन फुल क्लोज से फुल ओपन तक चला जाएगा. That is called my 3 to 5% normal range. 3 to 5% if there is a change in the speed, then your guide vane will be opened fully. Of course, I told you there is a opening limiter, there is a closing limiter. According to your limit, it will open. That is another thing. But up to your limit, it will open. What should be the change of speed? And again, the rate of change of speed also, that also affects the droop. The minimum rate of changes, it's not less than 0.4 times or maximum 3 times. बहुत ज़्यादा speed में भी speed change, the rate of change of speed should not be more than 3 times. बहुत fast भी नहीं होना चाहिए और slower भी नहीं होना चाहिए. This is the reason कि 3 to 5% speed changes will be there. Your governor allows the guide vanes to open fully. और आपके जो control valve है, it will be opened fully. Then when your output will be approaching to the set point, so normally this will be goes down. Then this is a lag time, is a change in generator speed and change in turbine power. This is the time between a change in generator speed and change in turbine power. Time taken by the governor to just begin changing the power output to stabilize the frequency. This is in power plant. You enter, there is a, in the SCADA you will see there is a power rise curve. Power rise curve. Sometimes what happens, you have to rise the power rise. That means megawatt per second. See, in hydro, when you are loading the machine, you should not load from we start the machine will be synchronized at 10 megawatt, 15 megawatt, whatever you have the set point. Then suppose the machine is 250 megawatt, directly you don't put 250 megawatt set point. There are some loading curves. From this point to this point, this should be loaded like this. Hydro may, if it can be possible, but thermal it is not possible. Vacuum will be created. What is the step of loading? You have to follow that step. And that is called your governing lag. See, one thing I want to tell, there is a governor setting only. If you want to close the governor, suppose there is a fault is there, you want to close the governor very fast to save the machine. If it is very fast, what will happen? Positive pressure will be created in the water conductor system or the penstock. There may be possibility it may blast, heavy pressure. And when you open, it should not be again very fast. You open such a way that water will be going down and the water coming from the substrate will take some time. Then vacuum will be created. It may be collapsed. So, considering the positive and negative pressure phenomena, you have to set the governor setting, the timing, closing time, opening time, what they are doing. There is opening, close time, closing time, opening stroke, closing stroke. There is a valve there, mechanical devices there. So these are the things. The change generator speed changes, but how much time your turbine takes time to get that power what you needed. When the generator speed goes down, if there is a need of power, but how much time turbine is taking? Why turbine is taking power? It needs water. Who allows the water to flow? Your guide vane is allowing the water to flow. Who is controlling the guide vanes? Governor is controlling the guide vanes. So everything depends on the governor only. So in that particular time, if there is a time lag, who is supposed to take care? The inertia of the unit that take care during the lag time. Then I don't think these are the groups how people are calculating. Then factors affecting governors. There are some external factors, connected power system network, types of load. Then internal fact changes, disturbances in the long water conductor system that affect the. As I told, sometimes what happened while there are some load throw processes. Suppose a machine is running at full load condition, suddenly some electrical faults are there. Your breaker tripped off. What at that time the guide vane opening is fully. What amount of water needed for full load operation that was flowing, and suddenly your megawatt going to zero. So you need to close the governor very fast. When you are closing very fast, what will happen? Pressure increases. If you are not closing the guide vanes very fast, what will happen? Your turbine may go beyond its runoff speed. That may damage your foundations. So you should not allow your governor should close the guide vanes considering the runoff speed of the turbine. Within the runoff speed, you should close the turbine. If it is not closing, then what other things? We need some pressure release valves on the spiral casing where you see there are positive pressures are developed. So you have to put how many numbers, it depends on the commissioning engineer or design engineer. So depending upon if you are not able to control the runner speed, or you are controlling the runner speed at the same time you are not able to control the positive pressure developed in the spiral casing. So in that particular case, you have to install some pressure release valves in the water conductor system, or where you are getting some positive pressure is developed. It is mostly on the spiral casing only. These are the disturbances in the long water conductor system. That means where HRT is very long, they are then requirement, it should be precision, the reliability should be good, stability, enough, sensitivity, teeny changes in the speed that should be sensitized by the governors. And stability, if there are some changes, transient changes, it should not be stabilized. Reliability. Then these things, these are the things how servo mechanism, how there are some sensors here, speed signal generator is there, then we are sensing the speed signal, then that speed signal and pilot servo valve is there, then hydraulic power is there. Then what, there are two things in governor cubicle, two types of cubicles are there, एक electro hydraulic cubicle, एक mechanical hydromechanical cubicle, HMC and EGC. So electro first the signal is getting from your sensors to measure the speed signals from the generators. It will be given to the electro hydraulic. It converts in the hydraulic form. Then your hydromechanical. That means the output of the electro hydraulic, it is given to the hydromechanical. So then the output is given to your there is a OPU system, as I told earlier. There is a oil sump is there. You have some oils there. Then there are two pumps is there. One pump is standby, one pump is operating. And then you have servo motor. The oil is coming from the OPU to the servo motor to the inlet valve. This inlet valve is controlled by the governor only. Then the servo motor is connected to the wicket gates, and wicket gates are connected on the steering. Then your turbine generator, the flow is like this. First is electrical signal or electronic, then it is converted to hydraulic power. This will open. See, in the you have some PID control governing. So initially there is a differences in the set point or reference and the measured value that will be amplified. Then you have ADC, DAC, digital to analog, analog to digital. Digital to analog. Sorry, analog to digital, then digital to analog. Then you have some VI converter, voltage to current converter. Okay. Then the output of the VI converter is given to IP converter. It converts the current to the pressure. That pressure is given to the main valve. It is like this only. Speed regulation concept. You can see this is my main distribution valves are there. Then you have speed sensors, then position sensors are there. One is pilot valve, main distributing valve, a pilot solenoid valves are there. When you need solenoid valve, see when there is a fault in the control system. Suppose when there is a fault, our intention is your governor should close the guide vanes. But suppose there is a problem in the control. So what will happen? Who will supposed to close the guide vanes? Suppose governor fails. So at that time, one solenoid valve is there, shutdown solenoid valve is there. Directly the oil is going through that solenoid valve. Emergency solenoid valve people are telling, here it is shutdown solenoid valve बोलते हैं, ESD बोलते हैं उसको, ESD. Through ESD, oil will be going through the servo motor and it will stop the unit or close the guide vane and stop the unit. This emergency solenoid valve, it comes into operation when there is a problem in the control and the control fails, then we need to stop the turbine or shut down the turbine. At that case, oil will be coming through the emergency solenoid valve and it will goes to the servo motor. Then we have to stop. Anyway, we have to stop the turbine. We have to shut down the turbine. At that cases, these are called the emergency conditions. There are RSD means rapid shutdown 1, rapid shutdown 2, and ESD. Rapid shutdown 1, all mechanical faults they are treated as rapid RSD 1. All mechanical faults, that is electrical faults, RSD 2. Emergency, that is ESD. There is a button in the emergency ESD button in front of the operator in the panel itself. If there is an emergency, you can put the switch, push button, and oil will be coming through that emergency cylinder valve through the servo motor to the plunger, and it will stop the turbine. So, any questions? Participants. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
एक slide मैंने, एक minute, we'll discuss something, some more slide. This one visible? Slide is visible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Now it's visible.
So now we'll discuss somewhat the operation. See, we are taking a reference of Naphtha Jhakri power plant. There are 52 starting conditions. See, If somebody is asked to operate the power plant and or somebody sitting in the operation desk, you have to start the machine. So before starting machine, there are some starting conditions or pre-check conditions. It should be ensured by the operator whether all the starting conditions are satisfied or not. If all the starting conditions are satisfied, then only in front of the operator one LED will be blinking. That is called ready for start. If one of the condition is not satisfied, this light will not be blinking. So you cannot start the machine. That means your machine will not take any command from the operator if it is in the auto mode. Okay, I told earlier it can be operated in centralized, manual, as well as the UCB auto, and normally big machines people are using centralized control mode. So the operator sitting in the desk, first he will check whether any maintenance aspects are not going on. Work permit is there. If there is a machine with a permit, then you cannot start the machine. First you will see any permit is there. No. If it is no, then you will go for, I want to start this unit. I have 5-6 units there. I want to start this unit number 1 or unit number 2. I will see its starting conditions. So if all the starting conditions are verified or satisfied, then he will see that button is glowing. Now I can start the machine. Then there are some starting sequences. He will follow the starting sequences. If this button is not glowing, you have to find out what is the fault behind it. Which starting condition is not satisfied. So what may be the probable reasons behind it? You have to look for it. That we'll discuss here. I don't do all the starting conditions, but the major starting condition we'll discuss. The first one, you should ensure that water should be available in the upstream of the MIB. MIB ke upstream mein water should be there. That means water will be there on the upstream of the MIB. Rather, your intake gate on the dam, that should be open. So that will be ensured first. That means intake gate plus butterfly valve, कोई भी alarm नहीं होना चाहिए. That means if intake is open, butterfly valve is open, no alarm will be there. This one. Okay. So the first condition is water should be available on the upstream of the MIB. In the upstream of the MIB, water will be available if intake gate and butterfly valve both will be open. Okay. So they are taking some sensors from intake also, butterfly valve also. They are having some sensors. They are positioning, they are ensuring, and they are putting all the three things in a AND gate. The control logic is behind it. The output of the three sensors they are putting to a AND gate. Output of the AND gate is given to a LED. If these three things are okay, then only that LED will be blinking. If intake is not open, then this starting condition 1 will not be blinking. Every 52 starting conditions, there are some LEDs blinking. You have to see which one is not blinking. That means there is a fault in that particular starting condition. And you see what is there, what is the reason why this signal is not coming. If number 1, this is not blinking, you should be ensured that either intake is not open or butterfly valve is not open or somewhere alarm is there. In तीनों में से if any one is 0 and gate output will be 0 and your LED will not be glowing. So this is the first condition. Water should be available in the upstream of the MIB. So all the three you have to check. You just have a make a call to all the operators whether this is physically open or not. Even if they are opening, but if your signal may not be coming, that means whether the limit switch may be broken or the wire connected in between the limit switch and your control may be broken. You have to say it. Correct is then on the message. Then there is a selector switch. Synchro means synchronization. That is a synchro is there who synchronizes your machine to the grid. That switch initially it should be in the off position. While you are running, you make it auto or manual. There is a option is there, but when you start the machine, it should be in the off position. That is mandatory. In type 5, they have written when generator speed is more than 97%. Here the speed is 300 RPM in naphtha Jackery, and the voltage is 15.7. So this synchro switch, you put it in auto or manual. The condition is your speed is 97% and your voltage should be 90%. That means 14.175 and 291 RPM. This synchro you have to operate. But when you start the machine, it should be in the off position. Okay, if it is not off, you make it off. If this LED is not glowing, you just make the synchro off and see whether it is glowing or not. Then there is a test switch. Sometimes what happening, your synchro is in maintenance and there are some problems in your synchroscope. You are taking it in the maintenances, but you don't know. Suppose prior to that somebody is in the shift duty will be there. Somebody will the A shift or B shift or C shift, and in B shift you find synchro machine is in off condition and synchro they are doing some maintenance works. Some problems are there, but you came in the C shift, you don't know whether it's test or not. So you start the machine. Synchro is needed in the fifth step only, synchroscope. Then up to that you run the machine. Water is you losing the water for spinning without load. Synchro means before using the synchroscope, your machine will be run spinning in no load conditions. You are losing water, but at the same time, what do you find? Your synchro is and maintenance is a testing phase. So what happens? What you did up to the fifth number positions, it is useless. You are losing water means you are losing money in hydro. So better if synchro somebody putting some testing, doing some testing, he should make the switch in the off testing test mode. So if somebody is putting in the test mode, so you cannot start the machine. You are coming and you are checking the standing conditions, and you find that your synchro is in test mode. So before starting, you have to check is whether your synchro is in test or in the off conditions. So if somebody, if they are taking in the testing mode, they should put in the test mode. Otherwise, you have to make it in the off mode. Testing means you got it. You should not start the machine. It is then GMCB okay. There are some MCBs. If it is stripped, we have to see it. It is a governor cubicle. There is a, if you see in the powerhouses, governor cubicle, excitation cubicle means panel, governor panel, then generator panel, then your excitation panel, annunciation panel. So there is a MCB there for the supply. You see if it is okay or not. If it is not okay, you go there and make it on. There may be some MCB belts, trips. And DTL, DTL is the digital turbine logic. There was the DTL, the logic on which your governing action is carried out. That is called your DTL. Then a view DTL is there. Now the digital governor is there. These are the digital governors. View DTL means backup digital. Same programming was there. If there was a problem in DTL, you go to the, there is a switch DTL and view DTL. So you are running in the DTL. If there is a problem in the DTL, so you back to the view DTL and you can start running your machine. So these things mainly due to the inadequate DC supply system. It is, see, in control system, anything happens. Any malfunction happens means it is 90% you go for DC check, whether the supply is adequate or not. The level of DC supply 12 volts, 24 volts and 48 volts in a hydropower plant, you go and check what type of supply your DTL is getting, whether it is adequate or inadequate. Simple. Control failure means first check the DC supply, adequacy of the DC supply. DTL, I think it is okay. if it is not okay, you are not getting DTL, the signal is not coming, a DTL button is not glowing, so what is the probable cause? The cause is there is no time overflow, no speed signal failure, no guide win position failure, and no control valve failure. If there is DTL OK signal, operator is not getting, the probable reason is there may be some control valve failure, position failure, or there may be some guide vane position failure, or there may be some speed signal failure, there may be some time overflow. What time it takes more time, that's why it is not coming. Speed signal is not coming means the sensor you put it in the top for measuring the speed, that is not coming. That is not coming, either sensor damaged or the wire is damaged. Position failure means guide vane position, what you want and what you are getting. If there is a differences, I need 45% guide vane should be open, but it is opening up to 39%. That is a position failure. If it is there, DTL will not, you are not getting okay. Then control valve position failure means same control valve is not following the set point or command given by the operator. So DTL is not coming, this signal is not coming, the probable reason means there may be some position failures in guide vane or control valve, or speed failure is there, or there is a time overflow, time ज़्यादा ले रहा. Speed signal, okay, what we have discussed, speed signal failure, then this is describing here why it is not okay. The map speed pickup mounted in the turbine feed is disturbed. That means disturbed means either sensor is, there is a problem in the sensor, or there is a problem in the connections. The control wire connecting in between that apparatus in the field or equipment in the field and your control room, that will be disturbed. So you have to check the connectivity. Simply you go through your check the continuity. Through the multimeter you check the continuity of the wire continuity. You can check it. In guide vane position failure, it indicates that there is a transmitter. Position transmitter is always installed on the guide vane. Okay? And the signal generated by the positional transmitter somewhat distorted. That's why it will not be coming. Similarly, position controller, आपके servo motor की, there is a position transmitter that is installed on the servo motor also. It does not correspond to the position with the controller output request. That means position failure is there. What the controller output request, the transmitter, position transmitter, what is installed in the servo motor, that is not corresponds to the position of what you want. If that is not doing, this position will be well missing. Then one is isolated network. What is isolated network? This is the isolated network. That means there is a limit of the frequencies below and above that is not tolerable. But this is the, but this should present when machine is in the operation. But sometimes what happens during the starting time also, starting condition also, when machine is in the standstill condition, then also you are having isolated network, but normally it's not present. If this is present, you cannot start the machine, because I told you all the 52 conditions they are given to again to the AND gate. AND gate output is given to your ready to start button. If this is one of the condition is not satisfying, this one is not glowing green, so ready to button will not start. You cannot start the machine. So how to rectify? Why it is coming? It should come in the operating stage, but why it is coming in the when machine in the standstill condition? The reason is we are having the circuit breaker. Though circuit breaker is opened, but somehow you are getting a malfunctioning. You are getting a signal that circuit breaker is closed. Circuit breaker in standstill condition, it should open, but what signal you are getting from the circuit breaker that it is closed. So if standstill condition circuit breaker signal is getting closed means the frequency is 50 Hz, because circuit breaker is connected to the grid only. When it shows connected means by default it will show 50 Hz frequency, but your governor, your generator is standstill. Generator frequency is 0. So that means you are out of track. But physically it is open, but that is a malfunction of the sensors. Though the circuit breaker is open, but signal what you are getting in the powerhouses or control panel or operator ka SCADA, that is, it is connected. Circuit breaker connected means grid frequency is 50. Your machine is standstill means it is 0. That's why it is coming. So you have to work on the sensors fitted on the circuit breaker. Why this signal is coming? It is closed. You make it open. Then main control valve again same position transmitter is given, and if it is not coming, go for you know very well your control signal 4 milliamps to 20 milliamps. It is not sufficient, below hai. Okay? If it is not coming, you check that current. It is below 4 milliamps, because it is 0 to 20 milliamps or 4 milliamps 20 milliamps. 4 milliamps inertia. To avoid the inertia, we start from the 4 milliamps. So somehow the control valve is below 4 milliamps, or it is disturbed. इससे current कम भी हो सकता है. It may be less than 4 milliamps, or disturbed means there may be a breakage of the wire. You just continuity check करिए through the multimeters. And I told back view detail, whatever detail, view detail is there. There is a watchdog also. What is watchdog? It is a software only. It is watches the performance or sequence of the digital turbine logic. The governor की जो sequence है, cyclic sequence है, it follows the sequences. Whether the sequences followed by the DTL is as per the sequences provision or not. If it is sequentially not operating, then this will be missing. You have to operate sequence, and the region is again 24 volt DC supply system. If this thing is missing, you go and check the adequacy of DC supply system. Then again view detail okay. It should be okay. If it is not okay, again 24 voltage DC supply you have to check. Guide band position in view detail. Parallel programming is there. Same, the position transmitter in the guide band is disturbed. It may be sensor damage. It may be the breakage of wire. Then again position control servo motor, it does not correspond to the position to the control liquid stage. Then main control valve 4 milliamps से below है. Then I told you electronics governor ready to start. Then it is in following conditions must be true for the butterfly valves. Then CJ है, these are the panel names. ESG, no alarm should be there. No rapid shutdown should be there. No emergency should be there. And excitation and AVR ready for start. That excitation, these things will be missing. AC supply, there are some generally comes when there is a 415 power failure before starting. So if 18 number excitation and AVR ready to button, you are not getting, this button is blowing. The reason is 415 AC supply failure is there, or you are not getting that AC supply properly. Then rapid shutdown 1, it is a mechanical faults. It happens due to critical mechanical fault conditions. First, guide band should be closed. If a rapid shutdown activates, so what is the activities? The first activities, guide band will be closed. After that, your MIB will be closed, and the last, at the no load condition, your 400 kV, 420 kV circuit breaker will be opened. These are sequences, cyclic sequences of the RSG1. Suppose RSG1 command, any mechanical fault will happen. So what will happen? RSG will be blinking. RSG will be blinking means fast signal goes to the guide band. It should be closed. Then MIB will close. Then at the last, breaker will be opened. Same, if it is electrical fault, breaker will be passed. And these are the RSG. RSG means rapid shutdown. These are the all mechanical faults: upper guide bearing temperature, lower guide bearing temperature, thrust bearing temperature, turbine guide bearing temperature, generators, all mechanical parameters: generator starter temperature, air cooler temperature, generator turbine temperature, bearing vibrations,
turbine guide bearing RSD, generator load guide bearing RSD, thrust bearing temperatures, the upper guiding RSD, air flow temperatures, guide when position is high. Then somebody push the push button of RSD, then electrical rapid shutdown, and then pickup speed signal failure, excitation transformer high temperature, then penstock pressure low, then cooling water system circuit fail, then uh, 48 DC supply failure, 220 watt DC supply, common RSD, and then governor hydraulic GSC RSD is on, accumulator setup valve portion failure, then GMC common RSD, piston here in satellite people are using nitrogen instead of OPU, they are using nitrogen bars. There is a nitrogen bar, there is a accumulator also from accumulator. They are using instead of air, they are using nitrogens. OPU, 1/3 oil, 2/3 air. Here in the place of air, where air is there, you need a compressor. But when nitrogen is there, you are having nitrogen cylinders also. Then the sort of valves are there. The valves are connected to the accumulator. Accumulator, nitrogen is accumulated, and that accumulator is connected to the get 2/3 portion of your OPU. GMC RSD, piston accumulator level low, hydraulic pump 1-2 fault, accumulator manual valve close, nitrogen setup valve close, accumulator. These are then oil transformer का R phase, Y phase, V phase, oil and winding temperature high चला गया, bearing का insulation fail. These all the mechanical faults. They are again connected to AND gate है, then AND gate output is connected to the RSD button. Any of the fault occurring means that RSD button will be occurring. RSD one button glowing means signal will goes to fast MIB close. Sorry, guide when close, then MIB close, then breaker will be opened. Okay. Then you see any faults. There is a you go to the schemes also. There is a F11 or F11. You go to the schemes and push the F11 or F12 button. Some button is there. You push that button in system. So what will happen? There are some active streams. When the parameter is flowing in the particular stream, that will be active. That glows red. So if there is a fault, all the mechanical faults you see 20 or 25 mechanical faults, when they are not active, they are black. When anyone will be active, any fault will be there. Suppose the transformer R phase winding temperature goes high, so that line will be goes red. So you put the button F11 and you see from the scheme, that which one going red, and you backtrack the red from where it is coming. Like this will detect the faults. This is the things from the scheme. You should know the schemes pass. Okay, there is a plugin of the system or computer. People are coming. Suppose of SCADA people, they are providing the SCADA. They will come. They are instrument engineer. You will connect the laptop to that particular port, and you will go to the particular. Suppose RSD was something fault will be mechanical fault is there. Then you will go to the RSD, the scheme, and you will push button the F1 or F11, whatever. Then he will see which scheme goes red. That means there is a data flowing in that particular stream. Okay, then will backtrack that stream where it comes. Then you will see this is the problem, and you will solve the problem. Then similarly, rapid shutdown 2 ये सब mechanical electrical faults की है. That means if there is a electrical fault means first your breaker should be opened at full load condition. It happens due to critical electrical faults. So 420 circuit breaker should be opened at full load. This is called your load throw. Full load throw बोलते हैं उसमें. At that time your speed maybe goes high, but it should be within the runway speed of the turbine. Then after that आपकी guide vane will be closed. Signal then last your MIB will be closed. Electrical fault means you have to isolate the electrical circuit first. For that 420 circuit breakers will be closed, and all the things the slide already shared in the email. You can have these are the all electrical faults you see. rapid shutdown 2A, 2B, generator, CO system, carbon dioxide firefighting system operated, or R phase 5R book pulse relay operate, pressure release valve operator, emulsifier system on or fire. Similarly, RYB excitation trip, SF6 low in the circuit breaker, then auto trip pressure, then emergency. Emergency may first water should be blocked. So if there is an emergency, ESD button is going. So signal first, it should MIB should be closed, block the water pass. Then 420 circuit breaker will be opened. Then guide vane will be last guide vane. These are the sequences followed in the ESD. These are the governor, DTL, BDTL. These are the control calls. In speed is switch is 140%. Then emergency push button somebody is should. And BAP, then governor hydraulic command, then 220 DC supply failure, and then 24 DC supply, 48 volt DC supply failure. Okay. Then auxiliaries in remote. Auxiliary means some of the auxiliaries they are in remote. So what are the auxiliaries you are assessing through remote? Excitation panel they are in remote. Then sharp seal system they are in remote. Then cooling water system also they are in the different floor. Then MIV control they are in the different floor. Then space heater different floor. Then oil vapor extraction pump. Then SP oil pump they are in remote. Remotely we are assessing these auxiliaries. We'll discuss cooling water system. It is used for cooling of the starter as well as the bearings. Then space heater. What is the use of space heater? Actually, when your machine is not operating, so this is hydro turbine. So 50 the turbine is a water thermal turbine. So due to water is concerned, there are always humidity. So for that, when machine is in a standstill condition, there are some room heaters like we have in the rooms. There are in the room heaters in the generator starter assembly. They are installed there. So when a machine is in the shutdown condition or standstill condition, the space heater is always in the on condition. If you want to start, you have to off the space heater. Then oil vapor extraction pump. There are some vapors while operation. There are some vapors in the oil. So the vapor should be extracted by the oil vapor extraction pumps are there. They will extract the pumps. The HP oil pump I told you in the earlier. When you start the machine is rested on the thrust bearing or thrust pads. You should not give the command for the rotations. It will rob the surface of the thrust pad. So we have to create a film, oil film on the thrust pad. So that film is created through the oil, through some pipe and jet. That jet is connected to your HP oil pump. You have to on the HP oil pump. Water will be goes inside. There is a hole on the surface of the thrust pad, and it will make a film. Then you start the machine. Then generator brake system. Then there is a brake track on the rotor. Well, on the bottom of the rotor, we are providing a brake track. Some brakes are there on the lower bracket. I'll discuss in the generator class. There are some brakes installed in the lower bracket. Bracket is nothing, some iron arrangements to hold the brakes, and this is just like some asbestos abrasive materials are there. You just jack it, and it will be rubbing the brake track. And like this, we are putting brakes. Brakes are through air pressure and jacking. That is through the oil pressure. The same unit can be used for braking and jacking. There are two headers are there. One for air header, one for oil header. When you want to brake it, and then through air, we are braking, and for jacking, we use the oil. Same jacks that will be uplifted, and it will be connected to the brake track on the bottom of the rotor, and they will be hold it. But braking air pressure, it will be just rubbing the brake track on the bottom of the rotor shafts. And brake dust collector, when braking, brake is applied, some dust will be accumulated. Some we have some exhaust fan like this. So it will that is called brake dust collector. before applying the brake dust collector should be on. It is just like a sucking, just like we are having a chimney in our kitchen. Like this, it will collect dust and it will throw it away. So it is like this. So these are the things they are in remote, and we are assessing through remote, auxiliaries in remote. So thank you very much. So the next session will start from the generator and that 23 number slide unit at Sunsil will continue. So thank you. Have a good lunch, and we'll be gathering at 3 o'clock.
Thank you, sir, for this informative session. You rightly mentioned here about the components of powerhouse, selection of hydraulic turbine, valve position, important points and factor regarding governor. Thank you, sir, for sharing beneficial information with us and your valuable time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.